Hi, everybody. I'm CEO of Protosure. My name is Urijah, and I'm going to talk to you about enterprise no-code software. We've developed a new type of platform that allows insurance companies to launch products without any programming.
Sorry, we had somebody else that wasn't muted. You're good. You're good. You can start over
Sorry.
if you want.
Yeah, so we help insurance companies and soon other types of financial services companies launch products without any programming required whatsoever. So in our mind, this is like how Shopify revolutionized e-commerce. We could bring to the financial services and insurance industries. So as you could see, many companies want to do more agile, more modern ways of creating and distributing products, but whatever their desires are, they can't accomplish it. From the business side, I speak to constantly financial services insurance companies. They want to create new products. They want to distribute them more easily. They want to experiment with new ideas, but IT is what's holding them back. Even though it's not a major cost center for the companies, it's what actually prevents them from strategically changing how they operate. So what we've done is we created a new platform that's simpler. Instead of having teams of developers work on insurance product and financial services product development, all you have to do is use our no-code tools, which has everything built into it that you would need to launch insurance and financial services products. It's 10 times faster and 10 times cheaper. You could actually have the stakeholders in the company who are not programmers, but who are actually the subject matter experts, work on the products directly with just regular Excel knowledge, and they could build out their products and then embed them in whatever way they want to distribute it. Now, part of building out a new type of product is figuring out how are you going to distribute it. So it doesn't matter how well you build out a new idea or how sophisticated it is, if you can't get it in the hands of the customers or whatever your preferred channel is. So what we've done is that once you build out your product on our no-code platform, you can then embed it and distribute it with any kind of affiliate partner you want. So it's not about just putting something on a website or marketing really strongly, and so you could shuffle people down a funnel. It's about figuring out, once I build out something, how do I distribute it, what the right partners are, how do I integrate those without any coding, and being able to piggyback on the affinity partnerships that many insurance and financial service institutions already have. Right now, our focus is on the insurance industry. We plan on changing that sometime next year and focus more largely on the financial services and other enterprise areas. Within insurance, our focus tends to be on insurance companies that have dozens of insurance products, and only the large products get the IT support, and the smaller product lines tend not to be, the smaller and startup product lines tend not to be supported by IT at all. So you'd be surprised how much of the insurance industry still runs on spreadsheets, still runs on manual processing. So we're trying to scoop those up, those long tail of products within the insurance industry, and package it into one system that they could control themselves. Similarly, many types of specialty insurance products, which are basically insurance products that you've never seen advertised, tend to be very manually oriented. If you want to get your yacht insured, there's probably somebody sitting there in a spreadsheet at a workstation filling out a bunch of forms. So we could take all of that drudgery and all that manual work and reuse the existing spreadsheets and workflows they already have and directly import it into our system and allow them to maintain it without any programming required. We're also working with startups. Startups have a significant problem that their ideas are constantly changing, and they can't fix their ideas into one way without a large amount of money to support their IT side of it. So we could help startups come to market much more easily, so they could really flexibly work on the different product designs that they have, decide it's time to iterate, it's time to change how our market proposition, maybe we should start marketing in one state versus another, which is not something you could typically do with regular insurance or financial services platforms. A little bit about our pricing model. So we provide, it's a fully maintained system. You don't have to do any kind of configuration or setup on your own platform. We provide it as a SaaS solution. We start off at $25,000 annually for a single financial services or insurance product. And then we go larger. What we ideally like to do is sell to unlimited licenses to business units or company units, so that they could not feel restrained and create and ideate new ideas whenever they feel like it, instead of doing it the opposite way, which is what's customary now, which is they come up with a business plan and then they have to find the financial resources to support it. Now they could work on the ideas, and this is what our name comes from, prototype them internally, and then when it's ready, then they can launch them. A little bit about an estimate about the market size. Right now, the P&C industry is over $2 trillion. Our estimates are, and we've got some reports about this, is that about 20% of that is still handled manually, and 20% of that is specialty product lines. And while there's some overlap, that's still several $billion of insurance processed every year without any kind of real infrastructure. And that's because the products are too small or too complex for them to spend the millions of dollars to have a team of programmers build it onto a regular platform. We're also working on some life products, and we're also working on making
Thank
the
you.
same.
Thank you. We're over 5 minutes, so sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
sorry about that. Yeah, we can get into.
I was waiting for your call.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we have to keep it at 5 minutes.
No problem.
To keep it fair. Judges, you want to jump into some questions?
Great presentation and product. I'm wondering how many products you offer out of the box and how many have to be developed internally by the employees that you engage with.
So right now, our focus is on products that are not templated. So in the insurance industry, the common insurance products you have all have templates that the major vendors supply. And that's what makes it reasonably easy to get out to market, because you could get an ISO auto template or whatnot. What we really specialize in is where they don't have templates, where they have to create it from scratch. And what we could do there is we could take their existing spreadsheets, which they're using internally, and directly import it within our system, so they could start off with something that already they know works. So they could take all the work they've already implemented for their internal processes and immediately have something that they could use right out of the box.
Any other questions?
Yeah, does the 25K, does that include hosting on the financial services or insurance company's private cloud, or is that for a solution that's still on your cloud?
So we have kind of two product models. One is it's a multi-tenant system, and they get a single tenancy on our cloud, so that way we could cost effectively support them. If they want a dedicated system, which they have the security permissions and responsibility for, we could set them up on their accounts, but then they have to get their enterprise product line, which is more, instead of being based on pricing based on a per product basis, it's based on a company license. So if they get the company license, which starts off significantly higher than $25,000 a year, then they could host it on their systems. We could set it up for them, or they could set it up, and then they have the security and permissions that they would prefer.
Good question to back up. Is the crux of the product to just introduce these lines, through websites, apps, and different digital channels? It's just getting into the channel and things around like digital onboarding and, straight fulfillment and all that stuff?
It's pretty 50-50. The first 50% is, how do I take a very manual, error-prone process that relies typically on spreadsheets and automate it so that people, let's just say internally, can properly manage it. And that's usually $1 million plus project within insurance or financial services companies. The other part is, once I've done that, do I still want to be restrained by the fact that, oh, you have to be logged into our internal network and it's only available through the internet? Once you build it, you could leave it just internally, or you could literally take a snippet of code and embed it with partner sites and work through affiliates to distribute your product. Whether you want to just put it on one website or 100 websites, you could really change how you think about delivering these products out to the mass industry. There are companies that specialize just in low-code or no-code systems, and companies that just specialize in, delivering front ends of products to different places. But you hit the wall when you try to combine them. So we've combined them together.
Gotcha.
What's your cost of product versus your profit margin?
Yeah. So really, the marginal cost for our product is about zero. It's a software as a service model. So we could spin up 1 million systems if we want, and the hosting is not really material cost for us. Where the costs really are the R&D for building out a more developed system, and for obviously marketing, support, overhead. So we typically do a small amount of support for free, and then above that, we charge per project or hourly to defray the costs for directly helping them configure and set up systems.
And how does customer acquisition go for you? I mean, How do you
It's
go?
gone pretty well. So I might have skipped it a little bit. We have three significant insurance companies on the platform right now. We're also marketing in Japan because turns out Japan is extremely paper heavy. And because of COVID-19, all their face-to-face interactions, which they prefer to fill out these forms, are no longer possible. So they're kind of scrambling right now, figuring out how they could digitize a lot of these kind of complex financial services workflows. We also have a bunch of startups, but yeah, so customer acquisition now is mostly word of mouth, talking to people I know from the industry based on my experience, going to conferences. We're looking to ramp up that in a fuller model sometime next year. And that's we're also in the midst of fundraising, and most of that is for our sales and marketing efforts.
What are you trying to raise on what terms broadly?
We're looking to raise around 2 to 3 million at about a $8 million pre-money valuation.
All right. Thank you so much.